Hey guys, and welcome to the Azenco Outdoor Podcast, where we dive into the business of outdoor living and share real strategies from the people making it happen. And hosting us today is Mr. Ryan Hammers, Chief Marketing Officer here at Impact Enclosures. And I'm really excited for this episode because Ryan's going to map out how to create a raving fan experience and how that leads to 4.9-star Google review businesses. And now we're going to lay that all out. But before we get into that, Ryan, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for inviting us to your beautiful shop here.
Man, thanks for inviting me. Your show, man. I'm stoked.
We kind of met in the middle, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, for those of you watching, we threw up the lights and the chairs here in Ryan's warehouse, and it turned out pretty well. And what I want to do, Ryan, is pick your brain, because the goal of this show is to understand what works. What are you doing right? But before we go there, just give me some background, how you got into this business.
Oh, really? I had a photography and creative background, fine arts and stuff like that. Went out to LA, failed there really bad in photography. And then I had a buddy of mine that invited me to work with him doing screen repair, like pool cage screen repair.
In Los Angeles?
No, actually, I drove back to Miami.
Okay.
And I went and worked with him, and then I did that for a little bit, and then I was like, man, I really love this. I really love the entrepreneurial part of it, and kind of broke off with another buddy of mine and just started our own.
It's funny how that works out, right? We go to LA, we get really good at media. Sometimes you aim for the stars and you land putting up screens and structures somewhere.
Yeah, way off.
But it really does gauge you and calibrate you for marketing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that was 20 years ago when that started. Fast forward to today, what is your guys' main business and how is that kind of structured?
Yeah, so it's all outdoor living. We pretty much do everything but pools and landscaping. So motorized screens, motorized pergolas, screen enclosures, gazebos, our shades, our blades, our breezes. I don't know. I mean, you name it, backyard wise, we pretty much build it.
Gotcha. Okay. And so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this, creating the raving fan experience. What is the raving fan experience?
I read this book. I don't know have you ever read it? It's called, literally, I think it's called The Raving Fan Experience.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, and it's by like Ken, I can't remember his name, but he wrote a bunch of like these little books, and they're so easy to read, and it just kind of goes through companies that have built different experiences, and it's not for everybody, but it's about what you could create within your business to make it its own experience.
Okay, cool. And so when did you read that? When was it? A while ago?
Yeah. So I had a business coach, and he was like, hey, you got to read this book, along with a ton of other books. But that one was the one that really stuck out, because essentially the premise of that book is just, like good isn't good enough. Okay. It's like at the end of the job is like, how'd it go? And they go, oh, good. No. Or yeah, great. Even if they say great, whatever. To me, I want it to be a raving fan experience. Like when you go out, you go see a buddy of yours, they go, such and such did this job. You got to check it out. You got to see it. These people are amazing. Don't call anybody else. These are the guys to talk to. That's what I want. That's the raving fan experience.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you started to apply that to your business, what was like the first system or step that you implemented to take me to, pre-job speccing? Yeah. Let's start there. Pre-job, receiving the lead, let's say, and how you're treating that customer to get to that end goal.
Speed to lead. First off, speed to lead.
How fast?
Lightning quick. So we have, I guess it's kind of like a Calendly booking online.
Okay.
So you can essentially, if you were to go online, you can go on and you just pick whatever time, whatever rep, any day, any time. We do nights, we do weekends. So we make it as easy, frictionless experience as possible on that end. If you were to do it through the website. How do you execute
on a weekend quote? Is that virtual or is that phone call?
We go out there.
You're on site.
Yeah, we have reps, and reps will go out on the weekend. They'll go out at 5 o'clock. So we try to make it as frictionless as possible on that end.
Okay, so response time, number one.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, and then what's next?
We also measure, so if they call in, we measure how fast we get to them. We measure if there's any missed calls, if we need to, get more staff to pick up phone calls. Missed calls are big deal in our book. If it goes to voicemail, why did it go to voicemail? Whatever reason. So we track all those metrics weekly. And we send it out to leadership. We look at how many incoming calls, how many outgoing calls, and then we staff accordingly, So we start there.
Okay. And you said missed calls is a big deal. So walk me through the plan when you have a missed call or kind of the next steps.
Oh, yeah. Call them back the second you get off the phone. So let's say all 3 people are on the phone and somehow we got a missed call. And at times there's 4 people on the phone or what have you. The second that thing hangs up, whether they left a message or not, we're calling them back.
Gotcha.
Right away.
Okay.
And we don't stop calling them back. I think it's essentially, I think we hit them up to 5 times that day. And we hit them depending on what they leave. If they leave an email, a text, or whatever. So we'll text them, we'll email them, we'll call them, voicemail, and then I think up to 20 times before we go. Okay, I think we bothered them enough.
You did it.
You know what I mean? We killed it.
Let me ask you this: for the dealers out there listening to this and their ears are ringing because they think you're driving the customer crazy, what do you have to say to that dealer?
I mean, the worst they can say is stop calling me.
Right.
I mean, literally, what's the worst thing that they could possibly say to you? Man, you've called me too much. Okay, that just means I communicated pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's okay.
No, look, I love it. And oftentimes I get pushback on that, well, we're looking for people who are ready, who are hot to trot, inbound leads, who want to do the job. And yeah, that sounds like ponies and rainbows, but that's not always the case, right?
No, I mean, to me, it's, here's the thing. If you think about it, if you're the guy, I'm like this. It was funny. A long time ago, we used to have a staff that would think like that. It's true. I mean, we didn't come off the gates thinking like this, Back in the day, you got a missed call and they probably weren't serious or whatever.
Right.
You get some business coaching and things like that, and they're going to tell you different. You're going to go to conferences. They're going to tell you different. As soon as we started really staffing according to that kind of stuff, everything speed to lead. We even track metrics on one call closes and all those kind of things. There's so many people that if they really want something right away, they're going to call, let's say 3 companies. Call it 4 companies, who knows? And this could even go down to home shows. I mean, I know I'm getting into different topics, but let's say they call 4 companies and 3 companies pick up right away. Okay. By the time they get if you finally reach out to them 4 days later, they've already got their 3 set up. They're probably like, I already have it set up.
Right.
Do I even need a 4th?
Right.
Maybe, but maybe not, at that point. So, or think about this, or they call 4 companies. You're the only one that picked up the phone. You're the only one that set an appointment. You're the only one that called them back within 2 minutes or that they could book online or whatever. And you're out there and our goal is we want to be within 3 days. That's our goal is to get somebody out within 3 days.
Okay.
So if we can't do that, then we essentially need to staff up as well in terms of sales.
Yeah.
So.
Man, that makes a lot of sense. I can't count how many times I've kind of been waiting for salespeople to come to us. And it's not a good feeling, You go out to the car dealership and nobody's helping you, and you kind of feeling like you got to go flirt with somebody to get some attention almost.
Yeah.
I'm here to buy. I know I'm not waving money in the air, but I can be convinced. People don't realize how many people are that close. Or if they're not that close to get them to the next stage, it's not that big of a leap. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. Okay, so we're landing leads at high volume. We've covered that. Now, take me to the next step. We're quoting, things like that. How are you ensuring that the first time they see your representative's face, the first handshake, the first interaction, that's going to lead to 4.9 star ratings?
Right. Great question. So at that point, let's say they call in, we send out a 24-hour, hey, this is your rep coming out there. We do a 30-minute courtesy call. Hey, I'm on the way. When we get there, to me, it's set the expectation. Set the expectation of what's going to happen that day. Hey, listen, I'm going to be out here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to take photos. I'm going to take measurements. We're going to sit in here. We'll talk about it. If I'm the right company for you, great. If I'm the wrong company for you, we shake hands and hug and say goodbye. You know what I mean? I'll refer you to somebody else, that kind of thing. So try to de-escalate so the pressure's not super strong, because we may not be the right company for them. You know, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, shoe booties, you know, go a long way.
Sure.
Especially if everybody's shoes are sitting at the door, you're going to be that guy that just walks in, you know?
I've had that happen. It's very off-putting.
Yeah. Especially if you have, you just had kids, you had kids.
Right.
I have kids. And what does it look like when your wife's like, man, my kids are like walking all over, or toddlers or crawling, or babies crawling across the floor, and you're going to walk in after you just got done peeing in a bathroom stall. Their eyes are just like, germs everywhere. You're going to get this kid sick. So we're super,
So it's the things that people maybe
the small things
they don't notice if you do, but they kind of notice if you don't.
100%.
You know?
Yep.
So you're trying to eliminate negative checks or X marks.
All the negative. Yeah.
All right.
100%.
So we got the booties on, right? Yep. So now and this is in the goal being kind of the dining room table sit, right?
Yep.
Okay. So walk me through that.
Yeah. I mean, like, so if my thing is like, the goal is to get to the dining room table.
Okay.
You can't to me, I don't think you can do business outside when you're sitting outside and you're like, oh, let me just write this up or whatever for you. If you're not sitting down and you're not actually spending the time to do a needs analysis and ask qualifying questions, you're never going to get there. If you're that guy that's just like, if you think in your head that everybody buys on strictly price, you're sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken.
Walk me through a needs assessment. You caught me with that.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
So how long have you been thinking about this for? You know?
You're really just personalizing the conversation right away.
100% personalizing, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been thinking about this for a week or two now. It's a fleeting thought, but whatever.
Okay, cool. So how about your wife? How long has she been thinking about it?
She's with it. She likes the look, but she controls the cash flow in the house. So she's going to be all about the quote.
Cool. So how long have you lived here?
We've lived here 2.5 years.
All right. So in the 2.5 years, you feel like, there's one of three people I typically meet. There's the person that's, maybe they're just looking for something quick and something to throw up. There's the person that might be, looking to sell in 5 years, something like that. And they want to see the value out of it. So whatever they put in the house, they want the value out of it. And then this is their forever home. Which category do you fit in?
Well, it started, we kind of just want to throw something up quick to knock down the sun.
Sure.
And I'm not a real estate guy. If we live here for 10 more years, I'd be happy,
Right.
That's where I'm at.
Okay. If you lived here for 10 more years, you'd be happy? How does she feel about it?
Well, I don't know. You can ask her, but
right.
I can tell you right now that it's, we're not utilizing the backyard. That's why I know.
Yep.
I don't want to break the bank to utilize the backyard, but that's where we're at.
Gotcha. Define break the bank.
I was looking at stuff online for like 10 and 12 grand.
Okay.
Kind of seems like decent price range for us.
Okay. Gotcha. Awesome. I mean, 10 to 12 grand, I get it. Let's go over what you're looking for first before I dive into all the products and things like that. And then you kind of go into it. To me, like, look, 10 to 12 grand, that's, obviously on the low end for Azenco. I mean, obviously. I'm not saying that disqualifies it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that say, I'm looking for X, and they buy a heck of a lot more. But they also, don't know you offer financing options and things like that. You got to show the value there. I mean, like at one point you're going to go out there, let's see the space, how big is it? What are you using it for? Paint the picture, you know what I mean? And then at that point, you're going to move into essentially like some sort of budget, some sort of idea of what it's going to run. You know what I mean? To me, our best people are the ones that are 5 years plus, forever homes. They're not moving anywhere. They don't have any plans. They've done the whole inside of their house looks amazing. They've already done the inside. Now it's about the outside. Typically when you go to a house, I mean, typically what happens is you walk in, and if you're seeing like outdated kitchens and this, that, the other whole 9 yards, typically they start with updating the inside first and then moving to the outside. It's not always. I mean, you're going to get some of that,
exception, not the rule.
Yeah, exception, not the rule. But typically, if the whole inside looks nice and their yard's manicured and everything looks beautiful and they're in a nicer place, I mean, why not spend 40 grand, 50 grand, 60 grand? Mm-hmm. Like those people aren't typically going to spend the money on a Costco pergola,
Right. Okay.
Typically. So
you're filtering before you make the sit, kind of in that sense.
Yeah. And for me, I start with, hey, listen, I'm going to show you some ideas, and show you what I can do and what your thoughts are on something like that. And then also tell you, hey, something like this is going to run X.
Okay.
Something like this is going to run like this.
Okay. So basically, as far as ensuring the raving fan experience, ensuring the rapport and the friendship, it's about selling on the needs.
Yeah.
What other things can you identify in a person's maybe personal relationship, whatever, that would alter their buying decision?
Man, I've heard some wild stories. Some people, it's you have to dive deeper. To me, it's everybody should read Never Split the Difference. Everybody should read that book. Everybody should read How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Right.
Like if you're not reading Sales Buck, if you're not just like on Instagram and just feeding your brain like new stuff, like you're missing the mark, I think, 100%. I've heard stories like I've been in situations where somebody's like, I'm just looking to do this or whatever. And I've looked around and said, I don't know if this guy can afford it. I don't know if like this is like a thing, but you dive deeper, by just asking question after question after question, hey, is this your forever home? How long this, that, the other. By the way, we have like a whole like list. Like we even give our sales reps, here's the list you ask. And then you go through it like a checkbox, like forever home and this and that and whatever. Okay. And you're just creating ammo so that later on you said, well, Mr. Jones, you said X. But a lot of times it leads into other questions and other questions. I had one guy said, and I wasn't sure if he was going to afford it or not. He said, I go, so what brings you to do this now? And he goes, I've been thinking about this for forever. But at this point, we don't have forever anymore. And I said, okay, well, what's going on? And he said, my wife's got terminal cancer. And this is all she wants. Yeah. And I'm going to build it for her. And if she lives a year, great. And if she lives 2 years, great. He's like, but this is all she's ever wanted. And I'm going to do it either way. But really when I looked at the house, I wasn't that amazed by X, but he's like, she spends all of her time outside. She didn't spend any time inside. They never renovated the inside of the house. They didn't care. She didn't care about the inside of the house. She wanted to look at the pretty lake out back. And for the next year that she lives or 2 years that she lives, that's the deal. So you got to figure that out.
And to judge a property when you don't understand that you could be helping someone who really needs your help.
Yeah.
And they're more than happy to pay for it.
100%.
Wow. There's a lesson there. All right. So we talked about generating the leads, getting the sits, the things we talk about on the sit. So let's go into the job, right? Because this is where, things get hairy. In the sales phase, Felipe said it best on episode 5. That's the honeymoon phase. We close the deal. We're excited to get it. Everything's cool. Now we're running into Florida permitting. We're running into constraints, engineering, things like that. So how do we set expectations and keep customers happy through that journey?
Yeah. You have to set expectations from jump. That's the biggest thing. Like 90%, I would say 99% of the time where things go wacky or weird or whatever is because there were expectations that they believed one thing, you believed another. Like that's where 99% of our jobs have gone wrong. That's what I find. We guarantee 3 things. Quality, on-time communication, or your money back. Now, when I used to say like, hey, we're going to guarantee communication or your money back, my ops team was like, oh my God, this can go so sideways. I don't want to do this, blah, 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 blah. But if you go back and you look at the end in mind and you figure out communication from beginning to end or where they had the most amount of issues or at what part, and you create a system from beginning to end that ensures that communication is going to be on point.
Sure.
you can do things like that.
Amazing.
So you have to end in mind, then look back, to every single phase. Like if you're sitting there going, okay, well, what's communication going to be like after you sell the job? Who's going to reach out to them? After that, how long's permitting going to take? What does that look like? What does it look like if it holds up in the permitting office? What does it look like when you get the permit back? How long is it going to be until you start the job? How long is it going to be while you do the footers and this and that and whatever? So to me, everything's expectations.
Absolutely.
And so we train our reps on, tell the homeowner their expectations. So we have general comments. Hey, listen, I just want to go over, this is what it's going to look like, this, X, Y, and Z. And then I want you to initial these things, not just, hey, I talked about it, we didn't initial it. Because to me, it's like we have longer contracts, 5 pages of contracts. 1 page is strictly general comments. It talks about your irrigation or drain lines or this or the whole 9 yards. And I want you to know what you're getting and how it's going to go. So, and we have it actually drawn out on a card that shows you this is what your job looks like. We're here now. This is the 60-minute meeting. Okay. From there, it moves to this. From there, it moves to that. From there, it moves to this. Every single step of the way, you're going to get either an email or a phone call on every single milestone that you get.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
And what would be a milestone where a customer's like really glad they had that communication?
Any part, really. I mean, for us, so the rep sells the job. It's going to go to the 3D department. And it literally would tell them, hey, we're in the 3D department now. You'll receive a 3D within the next 4 days.
Okay.
And then the 3D comes. Is there anything you want to change? No, everything looks good. Okay, great. So they give it approval. We send out a quality, a pre-construction or a quality assurance manager at the very beginning of the job. He's got the 3D and he says, hey, listen, the sales rep and you talked about XYZ. Are we still on page with this? Is this all still good? By the way, we're not going to do X, Y, whatever, 1 through 10. Are we all on board? Yep, we're all on board. Great. Okay, after this, we're going to move into the engineering phase. So you move it to the engineering phase. They get an email getting that. We're out of the engineering phase. We're moving into the permitting phase. We also track how long permits take. So we have one guy that's dedicated just to track all that stuff.
Wow.
And we'll run out to your house, go get it notarized. You know what I mean? Like they're on top of it. So it's like, if we don't get things back within a certain amount of time, it like red flags during the process. So it's like, oh, Miss Jones, I'm sorry, but your HOA didn't approve XYZ. We got to go back to the drawing board. And I know I said we were going to be this on the timeline, but we're actually going to be another 10 days. I think as long as people know what's coming up, they're okay with it.
So it sounds to me like you're playing a volume game and a high margin game, because you're not landing low order value jobs, right? So you're not sacrificing. A lot of people think if I want 4.9 stars, that means lower my price.
No,
not at all.
No, don't lower your price.
Okay. So from there, once the job is completed, walk me through post-job or finalizing of the job and a 4.9 star experience.
Sure. So, again, we have somebody on site. They mark out where the footers are. They're going to put up the enclosure. The same guy that came and had that pre-construction meeting comes at the very end. He's got a full dedicated truck just to make sure, hey, are you happy? He goes through his own checklist. Does it look good? Is this good? Blah, blah, blah. He checks the gutters, make sure everything's working, the whole 9 yards. Okay. At the end, we collect, the money and stuff like that. We called in for inspection. We tell them, hey, your inspection's done. Everything's 100. Let us know if you have any issues. And then we put, at that point, we put them on a Excel spreadsheet. Every rep that sells a job, has the homeowner's name and their address and their phone number, and it's mapped out on an Excel spreadsheet. And we give them a bottle of wine to go deliver the bottle of wine to them, or chocolates or whatever, just to come back. Because to me, it's like, hey, listen, like, and our quality assurance manager, they also have stuff. They like deliver like a little cooler or whatever it is. I think we do like a cup and a cooler and things like that. But we still want the rep to go back out there, because the last thing you want is somebody to feel like, yeah, once XYZ came and he sold me this job, I never saw him again.
Right.
And that to me is like, you just become a number. And it's frustrating. I've been on the other side. Like I bought a car, you know what I mean? At the end, they said, hey, how was your experience? And I was like, not that good. She's like, oh, sorry to hear that. And that was it. I was like, that was it. Sorry to hear that. Like escalate me to somebody, but nothing. It was comment. Like, sorry to hear that. So for me, it's like, even when, even after the quality control manager goes out there, the sales rep goes back out there, he hand delivers a bottle of wine, make sure everything's 100%. And if there's any warranties, because that's 3 weeks after the quality control manager. So if there's any warranty, he's then going to come back and then call it back to the office and say, oh, by the way, there's a little bit of a warranty. We need to fix XYZ.
And how do you initiate the review? You're pushing the customer to give the review. How does that does it flow naturally? So
what we do is, our installers get bonus on every review they get. Sweet. You know, and so what we do is we give them like a little card with like a
QR, maybe a
QR code.
Okay.
And it's like, hey, listen, by the way, if you like what you saw today or whatever, if you mention our name or anybody else's name in the office, we get a gift card. Person that mentions the most gets the most in, like it's a, raving fan of the month kind of deal.
Nice.
And so everybody's pushing to get reviews and things like that, but even the office. So it's not uncommon if you go on our website to see 5, 6, 7 names mentioned within the review. So it's not just like Impact did a good job. It's Chris, Karen, Jeff, this person, that person, all these people did a great job, and here's what all that they did. Nice. And I go back and I personally respond to every single one of those reviews.
Oh, you do?
Absolutely, 100%. And then we also send out like what we call an NPS score, which is like an internal one. And it's like, hey, what could we do better? What could we offer more? What could we change? If anything goes wrong, I personally call them and say, what could we have done? Talk to me. Let's dive into this deeper. Because for me, I can't tell you how many times there are going to be times where it's not a raving fan experience. It's just not. But I can tell you, if people realize how much, like, what is it? Like, what is the saying? Like, people don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care.
Yeah.
To me, it's like, if they know I care enough to change my process at the end of the job. Like, so sometimes I will call and say, man, I feel really bad about the process. If you own the company, what would you do to change our process? What would you do to change the job? What would you do to do whatever? And a lot of people come up with these amazing, great nuggets. I mean, like amazing, whatever. And at that point, I'm like, man, that is awesome. And so I'll give them money back or I'll do whatever. But I can't tell you how many people I feel like skip that step. Like it went wrong and the staff is just like, oh, that person just wasn't a cool person. I didn't like that person. They're never going to be happy, this, that, the other. And that might be true. Some people may never be happy, but there might be some people that are totally reasonable and they just kind of feel like they came up short. And if you can take that and you can implement that within your business, you'll just only get better and better and better. And those people that, like, they know you heard them out. I can't tell you how many people have referred me to so many more people.
Of course.
Because they're like, Ryan called me up afterwards and he listened to me and, it wasn't perfect, but man, he stood behind his warranty. And
nice.
And the other thing too is we'll tell the reps will be like, so in the very beginning, sometimes it was a little weird, like, hey, I'm going to, like, when can I stop by? And it's hard to like nail down a time sometimes.
Yeah.
So I tell the reps, I'm like, just call them and say, hey, I'm going to be in your area on XYZ day. I'd love to stop on by and give you a Christmas gift.
Nice.
Or a Thanksgiving gift or just a, whatever, just to say thanks for the awesome job. So
awesome, man. All right, Ryan. So you've gone through A to Z of a 4.9 star experience down to the bottle of wine at the end. Talking to those dealers, is there any parting words of wisdom you have about leaving customers with a smile on their face?
I would say at the end of the day, like, figure out I think, well, there's two things. Right? You have to figure out who you want to be to what clients. You can't be everything to everybody. Okay? And if you're going, if you're partnering with Azenco and you're going up for a high end product, then you need to offer a higher end experience than everybody else is going to offer them. And if you're really sitting there going, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? Like, you're never going to get to 700 reviews without listening to your clients, like really listening. And don't disqualify them when they say like, oh, I had a bad experience, and you say, oh, they're just crazy. Don't do that. Don't do that. Dive in and ask them that one question. Say, if this was your company, what would you change?
Yeah.
And if you did that and you really listen, you'll get there, no problem.
I love it. Well, thanks so much, man.
Yeah, man.
And thanks everybody for listening. This has been an episode with Ryan Hammers of Impact Enclosures here in Jacksonville, Florida. How to deliver a raving fan experience for 4.9 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. If you're listening, follow the show on whatever platform you may be on. And remember, guys, life is better outside. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Awesome.
Awesome. Great show. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good one? Yeah, we did it.
Good.